Recently, I went looking for all my old Pokemon games, but I could only find my DS with Pokemon Diamond on it. And since Diamond was given to me by a friend, it had his save on there. Since most of his Pokemon in his box were hacked level 100 legendaries, I thought I could delete that save and start my own and experience the game for myself. Because as a kid, I had the Pearl version, but I cheated. That's right. I used an action replay to skip through some sequences in order to beat the game because I didn't know what I was doing. But it's just sad to say that as a 22-year-old, this was my first time beating a Pokemon game. So I had to change that. I thought back to all the other games I would play, and I never beat Emerald past getting Surf. My Silver and Crystal copies could never save, and Yellow started to suffer that same fate too by the time it got hand-me-down to me. But Red version. Pokemon Red was the game I played the most on our Game Boy Advance. I would restart run after run, just going through the motions and building up a team that I thought looked cool. But I never beat that game either because, after my Gen 4 experience, I thought the Safari Zone was an optional play space. I didn't know it was required to go through in order to get Surf and Strength. So I was stuck, and because of that, I would never beat the game as a child. But we're gonna vindicate my younger self, who I would vividly remember sitting under the sheets at night with a little worm light attachment since the Game Boy wasn't backlit. Beating Diamond recently and reminiscing on my childhood failures of becoming a Pokemon trainer really pushed me to want to beat all the games now. So that's what I decided to do. We're going to start a journey through all 9 generations of Pokemon until we're caught up with Scarlet and Violet. And of course that begins with the generation that started it all, the original 151 Pokemon Red. So let's do what my pea-brain younger self could not achieve. We of course begin by being introduced into the Pokemon world by Professor Oak himself. And we also name ourselves Cone, and our rival, a little friend of ours named Tegan. And we begin by taking a potion out of our PC. We try walking into the grass, only to be stopped by Professor Oak himself. He takes us back to his lab where our rival is waiting and has us choose our starter Pokemon. Because as a kid I would always pick Charmander and sometimes Squirtle, I decided this run we're going to be doing it with Bulbasaur, who is going to make the first 2 gyms a little bit easy. We name our starter Blakeski. Charmander has the better move from the start. Scratch has 40 base power and 100 accuracy, while our Tackle only has 35 base power with a 5% chance to miss. But luckily he goes for some growls and Tegan throws his first ever trainer battle. Good for us. We get level 6 off of that, and we go and heal with our mother, which we will never see her again. Bye, Mom. And immediately we go and catch our first addition to the team. A Nidoran male that we then name Blackfish, one of our mods. We then catch a Pidgey and name it Watt, who was an old legend in the streams who we haven't seen in a while. We begin to fight the bug trainers in Viridian Forest, and Blake starts his count on how many tackles he could miss this run, starting with 2 tackles missed in the forest on 2 different Weedles. We then catch our own Weedle named Tegan 2, and I make a promise that if this little hairy bug saves us somehow, we will drag him along to the Elite Four. Going through the rest of the forest, Blake then misses another tackle on another Weedle. While training up Blake to get Vine Whip to make the first gym easy as pie, we run into a rare encounter in the Viridian Forest, Pikachu, who we then catch and name it Carnave after one of our artists and mods in the channel. Now that Blake is level 13 and knows Vine Whip, we can go and make light work of Brock's one trainer, and then get right on to fighting the gym leader himself. With just a few Vine Whips, his Geodude and Onix go down, and he gives us our first badge, and we head into the next area of the game. While switch training our Nidoran with Blake on the trainers on Route 3, Blake becomes our very first Pokemon to evolve. Blakeski's evolving! Fishy, our Nidoran, also becomes high enough level to handle himself against the rest of the trainers on this route. During a fight though with a trainer's Jigglypuff, I realized how frustrating status effects were in Generation 1. To my knowledge, I was pretty sure Sleep is only a 3-turn status maximum, and your Pokemon can attack on the move that they wake up on. But not in Generation 1. Waking up is your Pokemon's move, meaning you could be put right back to sleep without having done anything after waking up if the Pokemon outspeeds you and connects with Sing. But not only that, Sleep lasts up to 7 turns, and this was a little frustrating, as I lost XP for Fishy and Carnave got slumped immediately too, beginning a running theme in the run. Me absolutely neglecting Carnave. This last trainer taught me to fear sleep in this game. This Jigglypuff had a better hit ratio on its low 55 accuracy Sing move than Blake does with his high 95 accuracy tackle. But with that revelation aside, we head into Mount Moon with Fishy as our lead. We do catch a Zubat and a Clefairy in the mountain and name them after more viewers, Blue Soda and Salty Amanda respectively, but they're gonna chill in the box.
What? Blackfish is evolving?
God, the Gen 1 sprites are so cool. Like, that looks so good, honestly. Fishy then evolved, but we didn't have the Moonstone yet, so he'll just have to wait a few more minutes to evolve again into our first third stage evolution of the run. Nidoking is a powerhouse that can learn so many moves and can solo the whole game, but we'll only have him for moments where we need him. I don't want to over-rely on one Mon, but Fishy will be an MVP of the whole run, without a doubt. Before venturing further into the mountain, we head back out to replace Watt with a Spearow. We found something out. In Generation 1, Gust is not a flying move, and Pidgey does not get flying stab moves until level 31 as a Pidgeotto, or until you receive the HM for Fly. I didn't want to wait that long, so we were just going to go catch a Spearow in the meantime, who learns Peck very early on and is a flying move. So we catch the Spearow and we name it Electrocity. I'm actually pretty okay with this, as I've never actually used Spearow, and thus Fearow, in a full playthrough before as a kid, because you would always just stick with your early route Pidgey. We do some switch training with our new Mon to get it some early on levels and not get left behind from our Bulbasaur and Nidorino, but this quick attacking Rattata then takes him out. It being low, we decided to get Carnave a level since we haven't switch trained him one bit. But Carnave gets quick attacked before he can even finish off the Rattata. This one's on me, Carnave. I'm sorry. We pick up our first Moonstone and evolve Nidorino into Nidoking. Been ready. Fishy is officially the strongest Pokemon on the team. What a badass. We then pick up a hidden Moonstone with the intent to evolve that Clefairy into Clefable, but not because we're going to use Clefable. I know we need to have caught a certain number of Pokemon for an EXP share, but I forgot what that number was, and also I didn't realize how the EXP sharing item in this game works. There are no held items, instead it's an EXP all, and shares EXP to all Pokemon in the party as long as you have the item in your bag. I did not know this until we talked to the aide that gives us the item later on in the run, and I wish I did, because I would have trained up Tegan 2 some more. I was planning on just throwing the EXP share item on him only, once we got it, so we could passively level him up to match what the end squad's levels will be. Boy, was I wrong. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We then beat the Super Nerd and take the Dome Fossil for ourselves. We exit Mount Moon and we take the Leap of No Return, and we are now in Cerulean City. I realized that I should have leveled up Carnave more, as he can make quick work of Tegan's Pidgeotto, but he's only level 5. I level him up to level 7 in the patch of grass and decide that's enough. Time to battle Tegan before Nugget Bridge. And his Pidgeotto is level 18. Last time we saw this dude was when we first got our Pokemon, so I was not expecting him to be above 16. Regardless, he one-shots Carnave with a normal Gust, and I'm forced to switch to someone stronger. Another example of me neglecting this poor Pikachu. Fishy takes care of the Pidgeotto, and our Spearow gets free XP off of the Abra that only knows Teleport. We take out Rattata with Blakeski, and then switch to Clefairy when he throws in Charmander. I thought Clefairy would have Sing, but it doesn't. So I growl as much as I can and sack Clefairy to have a clean switch into Fishy, who finishes it off easily. With Tegan defeated and smelling us later, we beat Nugget Bridge easily and fight a Rocket member at the top who didn't hear me when I said yes to his offer of joining what's essentially the Pokemon Mafia.
Nugget. That sells for a lot. Would I like to join Team Rocket?
Yes. Yes. I said yes. I said yes. No, I said yes. Fucker's deaf.
I said I'll join, man.
I guess I'll just have to start my own mafia. Oh wait, I already have one. I went ahead and tried the first trainer of the water gym to try and get some XP on Carnave. And we'll just watch.
Bubble, you're dead. No, you'll be on 2. Nope. Yeah, I rolled. Okay.
Yep, another instance of neglect on my part. We then went along and just wiped the other trainer with Blake, and challenged Misty, and also easily vine whipped her mons down like we did to Brock. And man, Blake's handled both gym leaders on his own like a boss. But Blake's usefulness will now willow, unfortunately. We loved you while you shined, Blake. We really did. With 2 badges in the bag, and now the ability to use Cut once we find the HM, we head to Bill's house fighting all the trainers along the way for maximum XP. Which, of course, we did have another incident involving Carnave. Seriously, I don't mean to do him bad, but while battling, I switched into him against a Pokemon he was super effective against, hoping he could tank a hit. But no, the turn he switched in on, he gets quick attacked and fainted. How much pain is this Pikachu willing to take? Anyway, we make it to Bill's house, help him return to his human form, and he hands us a ticket to the SSN as a thanks. Passing through the Dig building, we fight the robber out back and take the Dig TM, which they let us keep. The plan was to teach Fishy Dig, so he could have ground stab moves against Surge. But while Nidoking can learn Dig in future generations, he cannot learn Dig in Generation 1, so the plan changed. We instead catch a Diglett in Diglett Cave. While on the route above the next city, we fight 2 Pidgeys. Carnave one-shots the first one, and then dies to a quick attack on the next one. I swear I'm not doing it on purpose. I just keep forgetting about the quick attacks, and don't even mention to me how many crits he's fainted to at this point. We make it to Vermilion and pick up the old rod, which we will not be using, so I don't know why I picked it up. We finally evolve Clefairy into Clefable with that Moonstone, and we go catch that Diglett that will take Clefable's spot in the team. We name it One Odd Buck after the man with the same name. We also pick up our bike voucher from the president of the Pokemon fan club, and we head towards the SSN, where we're going to train up Diglett and hopefully evolve it into a Dugtrio before the gym battles. We wave our ticket to the man on the dock and save in front of the boat's entrance, as this was the end of day 1. Say goodbye to chat and wait till the next day to pick up where we left off. We begin day 2 by training up Diglett against every trainer in this boat, hoping it's enough to evolve into Dugtrio at level 26. And yes, of course, Carnave dies to another crit while trying to share some of the XP with him. Look, it can only get better for him at this point, right? We then head to the captain's quarters where we run into little old Tegan. And this time, Carnave makes quick work of his Pidgeotto. See, it's already looking up for Carnave. Fishy takes out the Raticate, Blake takes out the Kadabra, and Buck takes out his Charmeleon. And just like that, Tegan is defeated once again. And once again, he says he'll smell us later. I hope we smell good, Tegan. But you're sorta weird. We check in on the captain and he's not feeling so good. So despite 2020 teaching us social distancing, we get right up on this guy and pat his back a little bit. By the powers of our touch, we instantly make this man feel better. We then wonder why he's not actually giving us the HM, and that's when we realize a little thing I was not aware of. That being item management. I really don't remember this being a problem as a kid, but we start discarding items to make space. TMs that we're not going to use, start using items that we can use, and yes, later on we find out we can store items too. I just somehow didn't even think of that, even though we literally grabbed a potion from our PC at the beginning of this journey. He gives us the HM for Cut, which we then teach to Blake, and now can get into the electric gym. We watch the SSN sail away, and we head into the gym. Even though Buck's not evolved yet, I figured he should still be able to take out this gym no problem. He makes quick work of the 3 trainers in the main room, and we solve the trash bin puzzle. At level 25, Diglett's able to easily sweep Lieutenant Surge's electric-type Pokemon with just Dig, and we earn ourselves the 3rd gym badge. This badge allows us to use the HM Fly, which we of course don't have yet, and gives us a TM for Thunderbolt, which we instantly give to Carnave. This is a massive upgrade over Thundershock in terms of base power, so, see, Carnave's getting some power, he took out some Pidgeotto, you know, he's doing good, right? Fighting trainers east of Vermilion, we finally evolve Buck into Dugtrio, and he'll stay on the team until we obtain Pokemon we've decided will be on our final team composition. We head up the stairs in this building, where I remembered an aide would be, to hand us what I thought was the EXP sharing item, but it turns out it's an item finder that requires 30 Pokemon for us to have caught, which we've only caught 15, meaning the EXP share item is elsewhere for even more. No worries, we'll start catching more mons and evolving more. We catch a Drowsy for the box, and while we're here, we'll head through Diglett Tunnel to go pick up the HM for Flash. While going through this tunnel, Lek evolves into Fearow, and we obtain Flash and teach it to Carnave. See, now he has utility too. No? Okay. Alright, moving on. We pick up another Moonstone and head back into Viridian Forest to catch a Caterpie for our Dex entries, as well as a Jigglypuff before Mount Moon, and use that Moonstone to evolve it into Wigglytuff. We also pick up the Old Amber while we're here as well. We head back through Diglett Cave and make our way into Cerulean City to start heading east into Rock Tunnel. Oh boy. Rock Tunnel. I don't like that name anymore. You'll see why. Blake gets paralyzed early on by an Oddish and hits some unlucky full paras that send him into the red eventually. While trying to switch train Blake for levels, Buck takes a self-destruct from a Graveler and faints. And I'll remind you of something real quick. Buck was our highest level Pokemon, and we have a level 6 Weedle sitting in our party, meaning we're down to 4 real Pokemon, a paralyzed low HP Ivysaur, a Pikachu which is ineffective against ground types like Cubone and Geodudes, a flying type which is weak to rock type moves, and a Nidoking who's half HP at this point due to hitting himself in confusion a fair few times. But anyway, we venture onwards. We do catch a Machop between repels for another entry in our decks, and then the Rock Tunnel incident occurs. This piece of shit hiker has 3 Pokemon, 2 Geodudes and a Graveler, and I find out real quickly that he has the move Self-Destruct on his Geodudes after he uses it against Lek and takes him out. I send in Pikachu to eat the next self-destructing Geodude, and he does. Then I have a decision to make. With just a Weedle and a Nidoking left, and this guy sending out a Graveler, who do I send out? The issue here is it's not a guarantee he self-destructs. If I send out Weedle, and he one-hit KOs it with a Tackle or something, then it's up to Nidoking, who he then might self-destruct on, and I white out. But it's our only hope, as if he self-destructs on Nidoking, and he dies, then it's up to a Weedle for the rest of this tunnel. And I don't even know how many more trainers there are, but I know we're close to the end. So I send in Tegan too. And oh no, it defense curls. I hit it with a string shot, but luckily on its second move, it does self-destruct, taking itself out and my Weedle. The sacrifice I knew this hairy bug would be there for. Now it's just up to Nidoking to make it out of this tunnel alive. We sneak past 2 trainers, but we're forced to fight this one who has 3 Pokemon. Luckily they're not rock types, so Fishy can do big damage, but we get paralyzed and dropped low by this Oddish, and even a full paralysis on one of our turns. The Pidgey hits us with a quick attack and leaves us on 1 HP, which after a level up we're left on 4, but luckily we find the exit. To my left is clearly a trainer, so I head right, hoping there's no trainers this way, or at least some skippable trainers. Luckily that turns out to be the case. Except, well, yeah, I run into this guy thinking, I saw the buildings, so there's no way he's a trainer. And I didn't feel the need to walk around him. Hopefully I can take out his Pokemon, right? And no, we're paralyzed. So we get outsped, and super effective killed by a Bone Club. Ah, what an unfortunate series of events. We were so close, and Weedle had sacrificed himself so Fishy could continue on, and I threw it away, right in front of the city. No worries, we head back in and fight the trainers we skipped, easily making it through with no issues this time. But what a heartbreak. But this was when I made the decision that because Weedle did allow us the opportunity to make it out of there, we were holding true to our word and taking him to the Elite Four. After all, it was my throw that we didn't make it, not the Weedle's. So we finally make it to Lavender Town, but we're not staying for long as I know we need the Sylph Scope in order to complete the tower and get the flute. So there's no point in staying here. We head west to Celadon City, and Blake evolves into Venusaur on the way there. We steal an Eevee. See? I would have made a good Team Rocket grunt if that guy would have just listened. And we buy some evolution stones from the Superstore. We evolve our Eevee named Leafeon into a Vaporeon, and our Pikachu into a Raichu. And we make sure to buy some fresh water while we're here. We take the coin case from the angry loser who's given up on his gambling addiction. You know, good for you, dude. Quitting cold turkey. We go and hand the fresh water to the guard in order to open up Saffron City for us. And we go and obtain the HM for Fly real quick, and of course teach that to Lek the Fearow. We head into the game corner to battle the Team Rocket Grunt in order to open up the secret layer down below, but we don't head in just yet. Instead, it's gym time. We switch train Weedle for one battle just to evolve him into Kakuna for now, and Lek easily takes out the trainers in the gym. But he's left poisoned and little HP. Instead of running all the way back to the Poke Center, I decide that we can take on this gym with our other Pokemon if need be. Lek gets one good fly in on her Victory Bell and then faints. So Fishy comes in for the finish and a KO on her Tangela, but she puts Fishy to sleep with her Vileplume, which he just never wakes up from and faints as well. We then send out Blakesky, where she stupidly tries to poison powder him every turn because it's super effective against grass, but since I'm grass poison, I'm also immune. Man, these Gen 1 AIs aren't too bright, are they? So Blake makes easy work of the Vileplume, and we defeat Erica and earn our 4th badge as well as the ability to use Strength. She also gives us Mega Drain, which we do teach to Blake. Before heading back to the game corner, we go and complete the Fighting Dojo and Saffron real quick to add Hitmonchan to our dex entries, and we box Buck the Doug Trio and buy enough coins for a Dratini that we name Dice. Now we finally head downstairs before saving once again to end day 2. We begin day 3 with this rocket hideout. We obtain the lift key from this grunt and use it to get to Giovanni, who we beat for the first time and obtain the Sylph Scope, which means we can now go get our Poke Flute to wake up the Snorlaxes. Back in Lavender Town, we begin ascending the Tower of Pokemon Graves, but run into Tegan immediately. How convenient. Carnave makes quick work of his Pidgeotto as usual now, and Dice actually takes out his new Execute. We switch back to Carnave in order to take down his Gyarados, Firo then takes down his Alakazam, and Fishy obliterates his Charmeleon. And that's Tegan defeated again. When will this guy learn? He cannot defeat us. We do catch a Ghastly on our way up as well for more dex entries, and we reach the final staircase of the tower, but we're stopped by a ghost of the Pokemon that wishes us to be gone. Using the Sylph Scope, we can see that it is a Marowak, who we just stomp and are then led up the stairs where we beat 3 Rocket members and rescue Mr. Fuji. He takes us back to his place and hands us the Poke Flute, which can be used to wake up sleeping Pokemon. We head back into the tower and catch ourselves a Cubone as well, just for more dex entries. We make our way south on the docks and awaken the sleeping Snorlax in our way, who we also catch. This was our 31st Pokemon, which allows us to pick up the item finder, which we do grab since we're right here anyway. And also at this point, I've discovered the ability to box items as well to make space in our bag, so that won't ever be an issue again, thankfully. We do go and wake up the other Snorlax that we defeat this time, since we don't need 2 in order to open up the cycling road. But we head back south of Lavender Town to head to Fuchsia on that route. On this route, Dice evolves into Dragonair. Also along this route, Fishy becomes confused after thrashing about and hits himself 4 times in a row, knocking himself out in the process. We find the Professor's aide who will eventually give us the EXP item, but that requires 50 Pokemon and we're not there yet. But now we know. Now this is as far as Little Cone may have gone before, because I never knew about the Safari Zone and how it's required to go into to progress the game. But this time Cone knows, so we head into the Safari Zone where we catch some Mons. We catch a Venonat, a Doduo, a Nidoran male, which we'll use to make a trade. We then find the golden teeth we needed for the Warden and enter this house to get our HM for Surf. But we're not done, we go back in to catch an Execute and a Rhyhorn. We then head back into the city and get the Good Rod, and then hand the Warden his teeth for the Strength HM, which we teach to Fishy. We then head into the Fuchsia City Gym where we continue switch training Dice on all his trainers, and then fight the big man himself, Koga. Fishy takes out a Coughing, and Blake goes down to a critical hit from this Muck, who I then switch Fishy back in for, and he continues to minimize, and it just becomes a game of when will I hit it at this point. But eventually Fishy takes out the Muck, and the next Coughing that's sent out. Then it's down to his Weezing, who just throws the match in a childish fit of rage and self-destructs himself, taking out Fishy but throwing the battle in turn, because that means I've beaten the gym leader. Why would you self-destruct your last Pokemon, dude? How'd you even make it here as the gym leader in the first place? Your trainers were harder fought than you. Still questioning why the gym leader would throw away the battle, he gives us our 5th gym badge. This one allows us to use Surf now, meaning we can swim, and gives us the TM for Toxic, which we replace Poison Powder on Blake with. To make more progress on our Pokedex, we then fly to Celadon, where we buy 2 Abras for the game corner, 1 for a trade and another for ourselves. Then we buy some Evolution Stones and evolve our Execute into Executor, however you say that. We then trade said Abra for Mr. Mime. We also catch another Spearow for another trade and buy the Magikarp from this man for 500 Pokédollars. We trade Spearow for a Farfetch'd and catch a Mankey north of Vermilion, where we trade our Nidoran male for a Nidoran female. And that's where we end day 3. We pick up day 4 with more Pokedex entry grinding, where we catch a Growlithe in between Celadon and Saffron. We evolve the Nidoran female, trade it on day 3 into a Nidorina, and evolve it again using the final Moonstone into Nidoqueen. We evolve Growlithe into Arcanine as well with a Firestone, and load up a Waterstone in our bag for a future water evolution. We fly to Fuchsia and head south for a fishing session, and catch a Staryu and evolve it immediately using that Waterstone into a Starmie. Finally, we're at 49 Pokemon. So to reach 50, we switch train our Kakuna on some trainer we passed up earlier and evolve our boy Tegan 2 into his final form, Beedrill. Now we have our EXP all, which we'll use at different points in this run. But now it's time to head into the Sylph Company HQ and rid it of its rat problem. And let me tell you, we get fucking lost in this massive building. So many teleports, so many floors to keep track of. This was not a quick excursion, but along the way we found the important key card and a TM for Earthquake, which of course Fishy took for himself, giving him some ground stab power. Eventually we find the right teleporter that leads us right to Tegan. What the fuck, dude? You couldn't tell us the way to go? You couldn't help us out? Whatever, let me beat you in a Pokemon battle real quick to vent my frustrations with you. Dice actually wraps his Pidgeotto down and Ice Beams his Eggies too. Blake comes on out to crit Razor Leaf his Gyarados, and then Dice comes out to try and wrap his Alakazam, but instead faints himself. As does Blake, who I was hoping would outspeed and finish him off. I was running with a small team, so the EXP sharing went to the Pokemon I was going to use in the final team, but that might have bit me in the butt here as Beedrill goes down to this Alakazam too. But our MVP Fishy comes out to finish off this sweeping Spoon Man with his strength. Last out is his starter, who is now a Charizard, meaning he is immune to ground with his new flying type. So instead we Rock Slide and connect our super effective move and KO the holographic rare bastard down. Tegan defeated once again, and once again he says he'll smell us. Tegan, seek help, dude. There was someone watching us close by, and we talked to this bystander, and he actually hands us our 5th member of the team, a Lapras who we named Karnstein. And we teach Surf to it right away. We quickly go and heal and then return to confront Giovanni once again. Listen, Giovanni, I'm going to start my Mafia in here, so I need you to get out. Dice just ends up sweeping his entire team with Ice Beam. So if Dice is capable of beating you by himself, then you're really not a tough guy after all. So good riddance to Giovanni. This is my town now to profit off of. We talked to the president of Sylphco, who was being harassed by that low-end mob boss, and he thanks us for helping him and his company out. So in return, he wants to give us his prototype of a Master Ball. This I thought we would use to catch our 6th team member, one of the legendary birds, since Mewtwo is post-game. But we'll just have to see what I use this for later. We now are able to enter our 6th gym, the Psychic Gym. Here we go against the most broken typing of Gen 1. We lead with Dice, who Thunder Waves and slams the Kadabra, but he's left on low HP, so we switch out to Fishy against her Mr. Mime and promptly critically hits it with an Earthquake. Out next is a Venomoth for some reason, who's Bug Poison, which means we can Earthquake it as well for super effective damage, but it lives on low HP and Leech Lifes us, so we just finish it off with some strength. Last up is her Alakazam, who reflects first turn and then gets knocked out by 2 Earthquakes. And it was as easy as that. Well, that's our 6th gym badge secured. We head back to Celadon to buy some Great Balls, 10 exactly, because now that we have Surf and a Master Ball, the plan is to catch us a Zapdos, who replaces our Fearow and Raichu with the same type coverage they provided. So sorry Carnave, but at least you don't have to worry now about being neglected in battle, right? Instead, you're just abandoned in the box with everyone else. That's better, right? Anyway, we head back to Rock Tunnel. Ugh. But we're not here for the tunnel, thank God. We're here for the power plant that I never knew was here. We surf right up to the place and head in, not expecting what looks like to be a maze. We just walk and hope to find our way. We did see some balls to pick up, and of course one turned out to be a Voltorb, so we stopped picking those up because it was pretty high level, and with our Repels and Instinct, we easily find our way to where Zapdos stood. To be honest, this is so cool to see this for the first time, as I never knew where to find these legendary birds before. And this is my first time seeing them. My plan was to try with 10 Great Balls, and then if those didn't work, we would just use the Master Ball. So we start with Dice, who nearly gets one shot, but he's able to Thunder Wave the Zapdos and paralyze it. Dice goes down, and I send in Blake to get some crit damage off, and he does get 2 moves in since the Zapdos gets fully parried, but it does nothing, and he gets Drill Pecked for all of his HP. So I send in Beedrill to do some more chip damage, and he does a little bit, but obviously goes down as well. Fishy comes in and is immune to the Zapdos' Thunder Shocks, so he gets to do some damage off until the Zapdos is in the red. And then I start throwing the Great Balls. They all seem to be missing, but I was certain that that only meant it popped out turn 1, and I still could theoretically catch it with a Great Ball. And indeed, on the 8th throw, it does. Yep, I caught Zapdos with a Great Ball. No way! No fucking way we caught him with a Great Ball! I was ecstatic at this point. I mean, I just caught a legendary bird with a Great Ball, leaving the Master Ball still available to catch Mewtwo post-game with. How awesome, right? Well, some of you Pokemon nerds out there might be typing away in the comments, laughing at my reaction to something that's not even that lucky. Yeah, I found out that this was actually pretty easy to do, and my chances were pretty high to catch this guy with this ball. After finishing the playthrough entirely on the stream, I found that very night a video in my featured, a video about how the Great Ball is actually better than the Ultra Ball. This video showed me the catch rates and chances of catching Pokemon with certain Pokeballs, and all the ways it calculates that chance. And well, I was really disappointed to find out that after paralyzing the Zapdos and getting it below half HP, my odds were pretty good. So even though it's not an achievement of luck, just let my past self have this one, okay? I mean, look at how happy he looks. You really want to ruin that? By the way, link to that video in the description with the creator below. With Zapdos in our party, the team is complete. We have our starter, Blakesky the Venusaur, our MVP, Fishy the Nidoking, our legendary bird capable of flying us around, and our newest addition, Ozzy the Zapdos, our soon-to-be dragon pseudo-legendary, Dice the Dragonair, our surfing water and ice type to defeat the dragon types, Karnstein the Lapras, and the meme bee, Tegan 2 the Beedrill. He's really there for the fun. Just look at him, ready to go, but he'll never amount to anything, which is a very tragic story, and you really ought to feel bad for him, but don't. It's Tegan 2. Like, he deserves it. Anyway, we fly back to Pallet Town to start surfing south towards Cinnabar Island. Once at Cinnabar Island, we immediately resurrect our fossil Pokemon and nab ourselves an Aerodactyl and Kabuto. The door to the gym is locked for some reason, which I'm pretty sure that means everyone in there is locked in, so we'll go looking for the key in the rundown Pokemon mansion left of the gym, because that's where it should be, right? That makes sense. In there we find some weird statues that have switches on them that we use to open the doors, and we make our way to the basement where we find the secret key in the middle of an empty room. So I guess someone just dropped it here and forgot about it, but that means they dropped it in here after locking the gym's door, and they locked the gym's door with people inside? What did they come to this room for after locking the door? It was pretty tedious to get here in the first place, with all the switches, and it's a rundown mansion with robbers and mad scientists in here, so what was the purpose of... let's forget about that and just go open the door and kick the shit out of all the people in there. Well, not them, they're Pokemon. We'll kick the shit out of all their Pokemon. Hang on, that doesn't sound much better, does it? Anyway, let's just go get our 7th gym badge. This time, all the trainers are mandatory here anyway, so we smoke them all and meet Blaine at the end of the gym. Lapras easily takes care of his Growlithe and Ponyta, but not without taking some damage himself. And then Blaine, for some reason, tries to use a potion on his full health Rapidash, letting me get an easy hit off with Surf, which then he does use the potion again, but it's only a super potion, meaning it's still in KO range for me. Interesting. Out comes Arcanine and he hits me with a Fire Blast, which burns me and brings Karnstein to low HP. One Surf connects, and then the burn takes Lapras down to 1 HP. I switch into Dice here and start rapping, but Arcanine eventually KOs Dice too. I send in Blake to get a Toxic off, just in case I somehow don't take this thing down, and he obviously burns this Grass type down. I tried having it die to that Toxic while it killed the Beedrill so that Karnstein got all the HP, but in Gen 1, if it kills and I have to switch Pokemon, it ignores the tick damage from a status effect at the end of its turn. So I switched into Fishy and just tried to miss with a Mega Punch so it could take some poison damage, but Fishy connects and splits the XP with Lapras. No big deal. But that's the 7th gym down. Only one more to go before heading to Victory Road in the Elite Four. But quickly it became time to take on the 8th and final gym battle. Giovanni. I get to put this lame Mafia wannabe in his place and establish myself as the true mob boss of the Kanto region. Well, not me. Don Johnson, of course, but I'm doing the work for him because he's off doing some more important things, right? So it's up to me to establish his reign of this region for him. I am an underboss after all, and we do love the Don. Anyway, I already told you before, he's going down to Dice, and he's going down quick. Dice just ice beams all of his Pokemon with ease, and it's no contest victory for the Cone Family Mafia. Giovanni is defeated, we own all 8 badges now, and can enter the Indigo Plateau, but more importantly, we are the strongest Mafia in Kanto, without question. So after that little ego boost of a battle, we make our way towards Victory Road, only to run into the little twerp named Tegan. Way to ruin the mood, Tegan. Ozzy thunderdowns his Pidgeot, Dice ice beams his Rhyhorn, and Fire blasts his Execute, and then it's back to Ozzy who thunders his Gyarados too. But what I was not expecting was Tegan's Alakazam to hold its own. I go for the Thunder Wave with Dice to slow down his silverware wielding Maniac, and he hits first with a Psybeam that crits and confuses Dice into hitting himself and knocking himself out. I switch into both my poison types, forgetting it's super effective against them, and he knocks them both out with one hit of Psychic. Bad play on my part. Oh no. Is Tegan actually going to beat me for once? I can't let this happen. Lapras survives a hit and lands a Blizzard, but it's not enough to take even half of the health with him. So I Hail Mary a Sing, and luckily Tegan goes for Recover, which allows me to not take damage, and actually connect my Sing, putting his Alakazam to sleep. And we remember how bad sleep is, right? But I accidentally spammed the A button again and hit sleep, which obviously does nothing, and is a waste of turn of sleep for him. And of course, his Alakazam then wakes up on the second turn, allowing me to only hit one more Ice Beam, but then I'm taking out in the next turn with a Psychic. This is not looking good. He knows Recover, and he's not even below half HP, and he does so much damage. It's really down to the wire. Ozzy goes in and outspeeds with a Drill Peck that actually does finish him off. Let's go! Why didn't I just use you in the first place? I really don't know. But it's not over. I have 2 Mons left, Tegan has 1, but it is a Charizard. Ozzy is down a lot of HP and Beedrill stands no chance against a Charizard, but Ozzy has electric moves and Charizard is part flying type. So I go for the Thunder, which has a 30% chance to miss, but I hit and it's a crit, taking down the Charizard and winning us the fight. Damn, if this is how strong Tegan is now, do I even stand a chance when he's the champion? That's a question I'll just have to find out the answer to the hard way. We still do have levels to gain for Dice to evolve and other levels to get from the trainers in Victory Road and the Elite Four. And with no mistakes next time, you know, Tegan might not be that hard. That might have been Tegan's peak. We'll just find out. Victory Road is taken care of, and we train up Dice to be able to evolve into Dragonite with some rare candies. And we're here. We're at the foot of the Indigo Plateau, a place that my younger self has never seen. Man, does it not live up to what I was expecting. I don't know, these random statues spewed everywhere, I don't get it. I don't know what they're doing. But we're here for the fights, not for the aesthetics. It's all led up to this. Our early struggles, our close calls, the Rock Tunnel incident, the Great Ball catch on Zapdos that ended up not being very exciting, the Beedrill that sits freely in our party underleveled and taking up a spot that a better Pokemon and higher level Pokemon could be using, our defeat against the weakest Mafia I've encountered and taking over Kanto for the Don himself, all of that. It's all amounted to this moment. Will we fail in the heat of battle or triumph over our foes and claim the title of Pokemon Champion for ourselves? We begin with Lorelei, who is seemingly the Ice-type member. I noticed the water in the room and decided to lead with Blake, but her Dugong was a way higher level, and Ice-type moves are super effective to his Grass, so I switched to Ozzy, who is a higher level, and I forgot about Flying type's weakness to Ice as well. You can tell I'm not super knowledgeable about the type chart, right? Anyway, Ozzy takes a critical hit, but lands a Thunder, and one-hit KOs the Dugong. Out next comes a Cloyster. I stay in and just hope to land the Thunder, and it does, and down goes the Cloyster. Slowbro comes out, and I miss a Thunder, but luckily it just growls at me, lowering my attack stat, which doesn't affect my special moves, and the next time I connect a Thunder, taking it down as well. I switch in Tegan 2 against the Jinx for whatever reason, and I get 2 Twin Needles in before I'm nearly one hit. So wanting Beedrill to gain some XP, and not wanting to waste a revive on it after the battle, we switch in a Dragonite, who almost goes down to an Ice Punch. Despite my knowledge of needing Ice types like Lapras for Dragon types, I for some reason thought this was a good play. Don't ask me why, but we live and Hyper Beam the Jinx down, and thinking I needed to recharge, we switch into Blake against the Lapras. Again, don't ask me what I'm doing here, I'm being dumb. Blake hits a Razor Leaf, which always crits, and the Lapras misses the Blizzard, so we Razor Leaf again, but it connects its Blizzard the next time and takes Blake down in one swing. So out comes Dragonite to finish it off with another Hyper Beam. Then I start to realize how important our power points are for our strong moves, because we don't have that many PP restoring items. But luckily this doesn't come into play until the very end. With Lorelei defeated, we heal our Pokemon to full strength, besides Tegan 2, and move on to the next Elite Four member, Bruno, the fighting type member. He leads with an Onix, and we lead with Lapras, who takes it down with a Blizzard. We then switch to Dragonite when he throws out a Hitmonchan, and we take that down with a Hyper Beam. Already 3 Hyper Beams down. I really hope we don't need those later on. I then remember that I have a Flying type for super effective damage with our Zapdos, and I switch him in against his Hitmonlee, who goes down to a Drill Peck. We let Lapras back out when his second Onix comes in, and we Blizzard that one as well. and Machampa is his final Mon, and with 2 Drill Pecks this time from Ozzy, we defeat Bruno, the fighting type Elite Four member. A much easier fight than the previous member, partially in part to those weird Onyxes thrown in. We took virtually no damage, so no healing was needed, and we go straight into the next fight with Agatha, the Ghost Poison Elite Four member. This is where our MVP Fishy gets to really shine, with Earthquake being super effective against poison types. So we lead with Fishy against her first Gengar. It outspeeds us with a Nightshade, but it only takes 1 Earthquake to take down this ghostly being. Next is a Golbat though, who's part flying type, so I have to switch since Earthquake won't affect it. So out comes Karnstein, who dodges a Supersonic, and gets a freeze off with Ice Beam, allowing for an easy cleanup with the next turn with another Ice Beam. We send Fishy back out against the Haunter. We get outsped again with a Nightshade, but I take it down with an Earthquake. But we are low HP. Fret not, out comes an Arbok, who we do outspeed, but do not one-shot with an Earthquake. Luckily, it only screeched at us, so we take it down the next turn with a wasted Earthquake power point. I should have in hindsight used Strength or something to save on PP, but oh well. To be honest, we've been lucky enough that we haven't been put to sleep yet. With Fishy, low HP, we switch out to Blake for some reason. Not a clean switch. No worries though, because the Gengar used Dream Eater. That fails, because we're not asleep. We take our next turn to heal Fishy and get Confused Raid, but no worries as we switch into our low HP Beedrill to sacrifice himself so we can clean switch into Fishy. Tekken 2 goes down, and our full HP MVP returns to battle. We are hit with another Nightshade and our Earthquake doesn't quite one-shot the Gengar, so we go for another move to try and save Earthquake PP. It being a Ghost Pokemon, we can't use our other 2 normal type moves, so we have to go for Rock Slide, which is not 100% accurate. Agatha then uses a Super Potion on her Gengar, and our Rock Slide does connect, but it does not finish it off. So we use it again after tanking another Nightshade, but we miss, and Fishy goes down on the next turn. Well, that's what we get for trying to save that Earthquake power points, right? Ozzy sent out to finish off the weak Gengar with a simple Thunder Shock, and that's Agatha defeated. 3 members down, and there's only 1 more to go. We revive and heal up our team and head into the next room where Lance is waiting for us, the Dragon-type Elite Four member. Ozzy leads the fight, and I use our first X accuracy of the run. I take 40 damage from Dragon Rage, but I guaranteed the hit with Thunder for a 1-hit KO on the Gyarados. Next is a Dragonair, and I don't want to switch in order to keep my accuracy boost, so 2 Drill Picks take down that Dragonair. But the second one lands a crit slam on us and removes Ozzy from the field. A waste of an X accuracy in my opinion, but what can you do? I wanted to make sure my power points hit as I was running low. Fishy comes out and Earthquakes the Dragonair down. Aerodactyl is coming out next, and I have no super effective moves against this rock flying type, so I switch in Lapras hoping to Ice Beam it down. But it outspeeds and lands a critical hit Hyper Beam, taking out Karnstein in 1 blow. And this is where I found out Hyper Beam does not need to recharge if it knocks out the opponent, because I switched into Dice thinking, oh, it's got to recharge and I have Ice Beam, this should be easy. But it outspeeds us and hits us with another Hyper Beam. Luckily, not a crit this time, and it doesn't do too much damage. I don't remove the Aerodactyl with 1 Ice Beam, and on the next move it heals to full with a Hyper Potion. So I bring it back down to red with another Ice Beam. And then on its next move after that, that's when it needs to recharge, and I finish it off with a 3rd Ice Beam. I was so confused here, but his last mon was a Dragonite as well. I move first and get it really low with an Ice Beam, and it only hits me with a Slam. So we finish off Lance with another Ice Beam spam, and that's the Elite Four defeated. Only one person remains. The Pokemon champion who for some reason is Tegan. Yeah, that's right. He got here first, beat the Elite Four members moments before us, and claimed the title for himself. But we're not going to let him have it for too long. With our team revived and healed up to fighting standards, we challenge our rival who wants to whiff our sweaty scent really badly for some reason for the title of champion. Ozzy thunders down his Pidgeot and also 2-hit thunders his Alakazam without missing. Let's go, Ozzy! That's more like it. This time his Alakazam won't give us a hard time now that he's out of the way. Up next is a Rhydon who goes down to 1 Blizzard from my Lapras, 19 levels lower than it. Executor faces 2 Drill Pecks and faints, and Gyarados eats a Thunder Shock and knocks out Ozzy with a Hydro Pump. I was thinking there that I would save some Thunder PP and use Thunder Shock, knowing it's like a third of the base power weaker, but 100% accurate compared to Thunder's 70% accuracy. And with Gyarados being 4 times weak to Electric, I thought maybe Ozzy could pull it off. But it tanked it and hit its 80% accurate Hydro Pump. We switch into Beedrill, who again will sacrifice himself so we can clean switch into Ozzy again after using our only max revive on him during Beedrill's turn. So Ozzy comes back out to finish off the Gyarados with another Thunder Shock, and Tegan sends out his last remaining Pokemon, that being Charizard, and we have 1 more power point on this Thunder. As long as we connect, we can take it down in 1 hit, and claim victory over Tegan for the final time. We press our luck and throw down Thunder, which does connect and obliterates the Charizard without even letting it get a move in, and emerge triumphant against this annoying little sack of... Okay, maybe I'm being too harsh on Tegan. But you know who was also harsh on Tegan? Fucking Professor Oak, who walks in and berates Tegan for not building a real bond with his Pokemon, and that he's so bad, and no matter how much training he does with his Mons now, he'll never become champion again. Damn, dude. You didn't have to do him like that, Oak. That's crazy. Professor Oak then inducts us into the Hall of Fame, and we are officially the Pokemon champion of the Kanto region. Not to mention the underboss of the new mafia that runs this place, because Team Rocket blows. Oh yeah, and also, I do know about the gym badges giving you boosts, meaning my underleveled Pokemon really weren't that underleveled. But you know, it's my first time beating the game. Just let me have this. You know, you don't have to diminish my achievements, okay? We decided that our journey was not over yet, though. With our Master Ball still in hand, we head to Cerulean Cave, where we catch ourselves a Mewtwo at level 70 with ease, and name it Daisy, after my sweet little puppers. We also go and head for the Seafoam Islands to catch Articuno, who we named Fowl, our consigliere of the family. We then go and catch Moltres, who we name Watt, who you might remember as our early route Pidgey that we boxed and placed for Spearow on our team. Legend has it that after being abandoned in that box, Watt grew a fiery rage that he could no longer contain. He burst out of our PC in a new form, as the legendary Firebird, and headed towards what he knew was our end goal. But he got lost in Victory Road, and laid in wait for us to return to him, so he could enact his ultimate revenge, by being captured again and sitting in our party at least this time. Well done, Watt. We love you. And that finally concludes our Generation 1 journey. I really appreciate you guys for watching, and for those who were a part of the live stream. This is just the beginning of our true journey, however, though. We're going through every generation of Pokemon until we're caught up with Generation 9. And after we complete that, it's still not over. There will be challenge runs, fights with friends, and even Nuzlocke attempts. So if you enjoyed this video and want to see what happens next, stay tuned to this channel and the Twitch channel, where we'll be streaming it all live. I hope to see you soon in the next run, which will be Gold version, Generation 2. This is where the video ends now.